Hello, my name is Iyari Benitez, and I will be talking about homelessness for a Helping Society project.
Good afternoon, my name is Alexis Washington, and today we're going to be doing a speech on homelessness versus society.
And I'm Melissa Mai. Let's begin. Oftentimes, we would swear we would be there for our friends and family, through the thick and thin, through all the obstacles thrown at us, just to make sure our loved ones are safe and sound. But have we ever considered reaching out to people outside of our own circle? There are many people all around us struggling with life every day, but there are especially people who can't afford to live at all.
Everywhere we go, we often see those people living on streets or in their cars or under bridges. But we do consider giving them a hand. Yes, but we often hesitate in the moment by walking by these individuals because maybe they are dangerous or maybe they are in desperate need, but we can manage in their own. These are thoughts that run through our minds as we walk by them, and by them, then we've already walked past them, and there's no looking back.
Or is there? These people were once a friend of someone, a child of someone, or maybe a parent of someone. If their own family isn't reaching out to help, why don't we try lending them a helping hand? But what are ways that we could do to give them a second chance?
Our purpose. Homelessness contributes to the separation of society. We are already independent individuals, worrying about ourselves than anyone else. Many of the homeless calls for helps are being ignored because of this.
If we could eliminate and prevent any more individuals from going homeless, it would bring more love and help for our people. We would come together as one and make it happen. We will live without any worries and ourselves as well. What is homelessness? Homelessness is what happens when an individual lacks a safety, stable, permanent home to reside in. Homelessness is not strictly a poor person's dilemma. It is a dilemma of mental, physical, and disabled, orphaned, displaced, abandoned, abused, addicted, and even affluent.
According to many studies, homeless people would usually fall under these categories, as it may even be the cause of their homeless status. It even affects families of all ages, from single people to families, of course. And in fact, there's an estimated amount of 150 million people that are homeless worldwide.
What is homelessness like? These people are often living out and about in the streets in lack of safety of a permanent home. These people are living in conditions that may affect their health and their safety.
Though not all homeless people are living outdoors, some are living in shelters or their family or friends' residence. And while they may have a roof over their heads, they are still considered homeless due to its not being their own property. People are left to themselves in the harsh outdoor environment. If unlucky, they may have to endure the freezing cold or the bitter heat. It is also not clean wherever they go, and there isn't anywhere to be clean. Might I also mention how difficult it is to find rich food or clean water anywhere? And most likely, the homeless aren't treated with respect and are often ignored.
Now that we know what homelessness really is and who exactly are affected by it, we will now further discuss what it means as a problem.
Extent of the problem. Homelessness has many effects on a person. They may experience a sense of loneliness, depression, and anxiety. Not having a place to call home without any sense of security and safety would be rather unsettling for these people. They'll find themselves feeling unsafe in an environment fraught with danger and disease from the poor conditions of living in the outside world. Effects on health. As mentioned before, being exposed to extreme weather conditions will do a lot to one's immune system. With that, the homeless will be succumbing to numerous effects of these conditions. Malnutrition, for example. Without any money, it'd be difficult to obtain nutritional food. And then hepatic cirrhosis from alcoholism is especially common. And even hepatitis from heavy use of drugs involving needles. They may even develop mental illness during the process. And even the homeless are victims of assault.
Now we know how difficult it could be in the shoes of a homeless person. Though it may seem like a personal problem, it may also have a major effect on the rest of the society as well. So for our impact of society, to see many of the homeless laying around the streets creates a miserable environment in our communities. It's bringing disharmony to our very society. Our communities are becoming separated. People themselves are already avoiding interactions throughout town to go on with their lives. Why would they worry about others? One of the many reasons for this crisis is the lack of affordable housing. According to the National Low Income Housing, the estimated housing wage in 2017 is $21 per hour. In addition to that, the hourly wage of a renter is $16. Now, that does not sound balanced. These are already many expenses people are already worried about, and housing takes up most of their money. Now, with that rate of poverty rising at 2020, much more people are on the brink of being homeless.
Another reason why homelessness is an impact on our society is unstable jobs, low wages, and affordable health care are some of the major factors of poverty leading to homelessness. There are also scenarios where people have been tricked out of their homes by fraudulent agents. Landlords are leading them, forcing some tenants into homelessness by not doing repairs or saying the building is accommodated only to be newly renovated and permit them back in order to rent to the richer.
Turns out the cost to society of homelessness is perhaps counterintuitively quite high. Homeless people are very susceptible to diseases and may acquire transmittable infections, such as tuberculosis, some strains of which can be resistant to virtually all treatment. And these illnesses could possibly then spread to many others and put people in danger. And while many of the homeless struggle with mental illness, they may be prone to uncontrollable actions, which may then put public security in danger.
Now we see how big this worldwide crisis is and how much it separates as a whole. We can finally discuss what efforts we can make to stop and prevent this from happening anymore.
When did it all begin? Homelessness became an issue in the US beginning in the 1870s. It was more as if the people were looking for a job than to own a house. So people then were desperately looking for any kind of job, no matter how hard the job may be. Will it ever end? It's been pointed out many times that homelessness may never end. Sure, there are plenty of solutions we will discuss later on, but the situation is a lot more complex than you think. Here is a photo taken place after the Civil War. Where does it mainly happen around the world? These are the countries with the highest numbers of a homeless population throughout different years. Nigeria, 24,400,000. Egypt, 12 million. Indonesia, 3 million. China, 2,579,000. Haiti, 2,300,000. India, 1,770,000. Zimbabwe, 1,200,000. Honduras, 1 million. Germany, 650,000. And lastly, the United States, 567,715. From looking at numbers from other countries compared to the US, we can see that this is a whole global issue. But we will have to talk about solutions that can be effective in the US. Proposed solution.
It would be best if homes could be more affordable and accessible to people with low income. Not only should we help those without a home, but those who are at risk at losing their homes. There should be programs that could provide some financial aid and perhaps more job opportunities to help get their lives back on track. There are already plenty of community service that assist homeless in some way, like providing food, healthcare, and shelter. It would also help if we could end our reactionary, fear-based society. It would be disheartening to leave those in need and leave them to suffer on their own. It's always best to offer a second chance, and in the end, the rest is up to them to decide how will they properly use their help.
Homeless people use high-cost emergency room facilities with great frequency. It's estimated that the government spends around $40,000 for each homeless person per year. For example, here on this chart, homelessness in New York City was 77,986 people that were homeless in the year of 2022. This money was used usually to go to shelters or emergency rooms. During the year of 2007 and 2009, the homelessness had around 6 million more emergency room visits. Predictably, because of homelessness contributed poor health, and there are more longer hospital stays in the population. Recently, we just had an issue at my job where a homeless man, he was homeless and came to the hospital and stayed here for 7 nights, got 7 meals, and didn't want to leave. So he eventually got kicked out because he was just over his stay. He wasn't here for any health issues. He did say that he did have problems, but eventually after tests and running everything, he came back perfectly normal. So it is hard to live in America with these issues and prices, and hopefully we can see a change and eventually. Why spend all the money towards that when we could use the spend of cost of actually using housing for the homeless? A lot can be done with $40,000 on one person and with financial aid. It should help us substantially. To summarize all of it in one, how can we prevent or help the homeless? We can offer more housing assistance for the homeless, provide more shelters and affordable health care for them to seek care as what they need.
Let's talk about Medicaid. Usually Medicaid is open to help those with low income, though it may not be available to all, such as individuals without any children and those with certain disabilities are not eligible for Medicaid. On top of that, there is also a shortage of healthcare workers to help serve those that are eligible for Medicaid. Fortunately, there are foundations and services out there that have so effectively helped the homeless in the past, such as shelter clinics or public-private programs. All these community services have been so successfully helped millions of homeless together in the past.
Wonderful. It's good that we know it is impossible to end and prevent homelessness. It can be fixed by our own hands too. But in the end, what does it all mean?
What does this mean to our society? Someone losing their own home would bring forth disaster in their lives. Shelter is one of the fundamental needs a person must require in their own lives. To lose your home is to lose everything. Now multiply that person by millions. It's happening to people all around us, and it could happen to us at one point. With all the inconsistency in the cost of living, we shouldn't be surprised that the rate of homelessness and poverty is rising. This type of issue shouldn't be it's okay if it's only happening to a small percentage of people.
We should remember that these people are like us too. Even if someone you're close to may also be at risk for losing their precious homes, we should probably do your best to help your friends, and you probably wouldn't help a stranger. We should do our best to come together and be more connected with each other. Even if we are particularly different, we all have the same needs and goals. So why not give a hand? Homelessness awareness. On this slide, just a few key points. I'm not going to play the video. The video, basically, I'm just going to describe what's going to happen, but eventually you can go in and watch the video on your own. But some of the key points they talk about and discuss in the video is how homelessness in America is number one. There are over 554,000 people that are homeless, and that's not even including people that's living with friends, people that are living with other relatives. They also discussed price of housing and how the price of housing has increased tremendously over the few years. Even today on the market, for an average 4-bedroom house, you're looking between $1,800 to $2,200 for a basic house that's probably already been lived in, doesn't have any updates on it or new renovations in the home. They also discussed in the video of how minimum wage is only $7.25 an hour. How can a person afford to live in an apartment that's $850 a month, making $7.25? Okay, that's another issue that they have and they discuss. Now, minimum wage is now going up in some places in the world, but even if they do go up to $10, a person still is not able to live off of that. The average person must make $16.35 an hour to even afford to live in a basic 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment that's not fully furnished, just a basic apartment. In the video, they also talk about how mental health and substance abuse is another issue of why people go homeless. Like, for instance, people that were served in the Army, you'll see a lot of those veterans that are on the streets are homeless because nobody would take them in because of mental abuse, alcohol abuse, substance abuse, using drugs and stuff. They'll use their money and never leave.
In conclusion, we all know when one is at the lowest. It will always help to receive a helping hand. No matter how small it would seem, it's always a good boost to start their path of recovery. People's lives are falling apart, not only because they can't afford the cost of living, but because the lack of assistance or aid. So many solutions, from big to small, are definitely possible to achieve, but what we already have done isn't enough. No one is asking anyone alone to solve this issue. No one should question whether helping as, when, or how can, and meantime, it's a good thing to do.
How to be a helping hand. Just make sure that you also donate to those donation centers that you see in Walmart, outside of Walmart, or in your near grocery stores or anything like that. That's also a good way to help the homeless. Or like for me personally, every year around Thanksgiving, I donate a few items to the homelessness. I actually personally deliver them myself. And I basically take a Gatorade bottle and I wrap $5 around it. And I do like 100 of those and I pass those out to the homeless during Thanksgiving. So it's always good just to be able to give back. Also, there's another link on the slide, on the page, or you can click on the link and it tells you some information about Houston homelessness and how you can volunteer, how you can sign up to do these things. Should I just take a look at it, see if you want to volunteer, but always volunteer. Everybody needs help. Just try to pay your dues, as I would do. So just be a helping hand. Just do that. And also, don't be afraid to say hello, because you can change a person's day just by saying hello.
I'm Melissa Mai.
I'm Alexis Washington.
And thank
you for joining us this afternoon.
Bye.